My name's Alan Hart, and in today's video I've got a gas fire service. I'm going to go through a gas fire service. I've been asked by some of the trainees if I could go through a gas fire service as much as possible. We've got a leaking boiler. We've got an expansion vessel on a cylinder that's leaking as well. So we've got that to change. That were an absolute nightmare. Also, I joined TikTok, so I've got some videos on TikTok if you want to follow me on TikTok. I don't know what I'm doing on TikTok, so yeah, just bear with me with that. Also, Lee's back, so we've got Lee. Lee's got some interesting videos to show us as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this video. Please consider giving this video a thumbs up and also click the bell. Thank you. In the first part of this video, we're going to look at servicing a gas fire. So this will not be a fully, don't take this as gospel. Always read the installation instructions for any particular fire that you're going to be working on. They are very, very important. Also, if you're going to be servicing a gas fire, you're going to be making sure the doors and the windows are closed. When you do your flue flow test, you're going to check the full length of the flue. That also includes going outside and checking the chimney. Also includes going in the bedrooms and going up in the loft as well to make sure that it's all okay. Also, you need to make sure you've got the right size smoke pellets, so you need to check that as well. So this is one of the most important parts, is checking the installation instructions. So check your installation requirements, making sure that the fire has been installed correctly. Also, what you're looking for in here is things like your ventilation requirements. So on this particular fire, we can have a look in here and it says no purpose provided ventilation is normally required for this appliance. So you just need to make sure that you read these. This is really, really important. It also talks about British standards BS 5871 part 2 in these instructions, and also BS 5440 part 2. In the instructions, it also tells you that this has got a flue spillage monitoring system on this particular fire, and it also shows you how to do your test for spillage. So when you're testing for spillage, it shows you where your match should be and where you should put it. And later on, I'll show you how to do it wrong, if you like. And we've also got some diagrams to show you where the coals and how you put the coals back afterwards. And these are really important to follow. So now what we're going to do, we're going to strip the fire down, take all the coals out of the fire. You see there, I've got some cardboard down. You don't want if there's any coals that are hot or out like that, you don't want them to damage the customer's carpet, so it's really important. And then what we need to do as well, we need to inspect the chimney. So if you see here, what I've done is I've put my torch or my phone up the chimney so I can inspect the chimney. If this was just a standard gas fire, you would need to remove the gas fire so you can look up the chimney. As much as possible, you need to see the catchment area, make sure that like the mid feathers or anything like that haven't collapsed. But we'll talk about mid feathers later on. I'll go back to the board and I'll do a drawing on mid feathers. And then we're going to clean the fire as much as possible. And then what we're going to do, we're going to put a smoke pellet in and we're going to do a flue flow test. So if you remember before what I said about closing the windows and doors, on a traditional fire, you'd have a closure plate, and you could put a closure plate in front of this, and you won't get all this smoke coming back in. But what we're trying to do, this is to test the integrity of the flue. So we're just making sure that it's not leaking. So what we're going to do now, just go outside, and if we see there, we can see the smoke coming out of the chimney pot at the top. And if this had multiple pots, then we'd be checking that it's not coming out of the other pots as well. And what I said earlier about mid feathers, and again, I'll talk about that later. I'll do a drawing at home, and I'll show you about the mid feathers. So just to talk to you about the mid feathers and why we're checking this chimney. This is the chimney like what we've got in the property now, and it's just got 1, terminal coming out at the top. So what we're checking is, we're checking that this chimney is not leaking anywhere. There's no leaks out anywhere. We don't want the fumes from the gas fire when it's running going out into a bedroom or into the loft. Also, we don't want them mixing. So on this particular one, it's not going to mix with another chimney because it's only one chimney all the way down. But if you remember the old style, so on some fires, you might have 2 pots on top, you might have 4, you might have 6, you might have 8, depending on the property. And going up through the property, you might have other fireplaces. So then what we're checking with this one, we're checking the integrity of this flue. We're also checking it's not blocked. We're checking this one's not blocked as well. Sometimes what used to happen is these mid-feathers are just normally bricks on top of each other like this. And sometimes these can collapse. And what they'll do is, if you imagine this in here, they can collapse like this and they can actually block the flue. And I've seen that happen quite a lot of times. We used to do a contract years ago where we used to put new flue liners in when needed, and loads of times you'd see that where they've collapsed. But then what we're checking on this, we're checking the integrity of this flue. So we're checking that it's not leaking out into anywhere else. We're checking it's not mixing. If you imagine this one here, if this were leaking, say for instance the cement had gone in here, down here, or a bit further down here even, some of the fumes would come out here and it could go out like into a bedroom or wherever. So it's really important that we understand chimneys and test them correctly. So yeah, so that's just a little bit about mid-fillers, and as I say, they can collapse. Also, we'll be checking the flue terminals to make sure that the correct terminal. And if you have a look in your gas books, there's normally pictures in there, and it shows you which pots are acceptable and which pots are not acceptable. So it's worth looking in any of your manuals, whichever you've got. Right then, let's go back to this job. This is a little bit of a fancy fire, this one. It's a remote control one. So I'm just checking it's all working just before I put the coals in. Just make sure it all lights and make sure pilot's all okay. Because once you put the coals on, you can't actually see the pilot assembly very well. So it's just good just to check that just before you put it together. Obviously you don't want to check it for too long because it'll get too hot. We're just going to refer to the installation instructions just to see how the coal bed and how the coals go back in place. And it's very important that you read them instructions for that. And now we've put the fire back together, we're just going to check the inlet pressure at the fire. So if you have a look on there, it says it should be 20 millibar. Also, it's 6.8 kilowatts, so we can gas rate that as well later on. So this is the working pressure now. So this is with the fire working. So people sometimes they get confused at this. So this is the fire working. If the fire was turned off, this would be the standing pressure, but that's not really that important to us. So we can see on here it's 18.44 millibar. And because we've checked the inlet pressure, we would spray the test nipple to make sure that it's not leaking. And then what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do on this one, is I'm going to check the burner pressure. So this is after the gas valve now, and this is checking the burner pressure at the gas fire. And if we have a look on the data badge again, we can see that it wants to be, or they're asking it to be 15.8 millibar. And if we have a look on the flue gas analyzer, we can see it's slightly down, it's 14.2 millibar. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go to the gas meter, check it at the gas meter, and when we look at gas meter we can see it's 19.7 at the gas meter. So if the working pressure at the gas meter is 19.7, there's no way that we could get 20 millibar inlet at the fire. So if you have a look on this, we'll go back to the fire, we can see that it's 18.44 millibar at the fire. and that's working pressure at the gas fire inlet. And we should normally only have 1 millibar drop over the installation. So what we'll do now is we'll do a gas rate on it, just to see if the fire is burning the correct amount of gas. So all I'll do now, this is a metric meter, so we'll do a 2-minute gas rate on this at the gas meter, and this will tell us now, because the fire's on full, it'll tell us how much gas the fire is using, and this will tell us the gas rate, and it'll tell us the gross gas rate, so we can see. And on the badge on the fire, if we remember, it said it needed to be 6.8 kilowatts. And if we have a look on the app, we can see that we've actually got, just put the reading in here, we've actually got 7 kilowatts. So I'll just take a snapshot of them, save them, so that I've got proof when I were here it were all working correctly. So if we go back and have a look on the data badge, we can see that that's working as it should be working. We also need to do a spillage test. So you need to again look in the instructions to see where this match needs to go, because if you put it in the wrong position, you can see you get all smoke coming back into the room. And I've done a very detailed video with Richard from Viva Training Academy, and it's titled Flue Flow Test, and that goes through the full flue flow test on precast chimneys and also on brick chimneys as well. And Richard spends quite a lot of time, I think it's about 25 minutes long, that video, and he goes through some of the regulations as well. So it's a very, very detailed video on flue flow testing. So if you want to know more about that, then please check out the link below. I'll put a link in this video to that. So that was the gas fire service. If you've got any questions on gas fires, then please put some comments below and I'll try my best to answer. Please remember, if you're going to work on a gas fire or gas boilers or any gas appliances, you must be gas safe registered or competent to do so. These videos are designed for people that are training, just to give them an understanding of fires and boilers, etc. So when they do go on the training, then hopefully it'll just help them. It's not designed to be a factual video in any way at all. So please don't mess about with gas appliances. It's just not worth it. Yeah, so if you've got any questions, please ask them below. If you are a gas engineer or a plumber and anybody asks any questions, then please feel free to drop on and answer some questions. It really helps me as well, to be honest. What we're going to do now, I've got the expansion vessel to change on the cylinder, and this one an absolute nightmare, which I'll show you. We'll go in and we'll show you, but it's the expansion vessel. When I went to do the service on the expansion vessel on the cylinder, and I went to pump it up, it wouldn't pump up and it started leaking, and then so it needs a new expansion vessel. But the actual expansion vessel itself was full of water, and it's a massive expansion vessel, and it was really, really heavy, and I couldn't even lift it. It was so heavy. So I sort of lifted it off, struggled with it a little bit, and then I had to start draining it down. And yeah, let's go in and I'll show you anyway. If we have a look on top of here where its radar valve is, you should never get water coming out of where its radar valve is. This is the air side, so this is the side that you'd pump up. So we can see on here, the bag's definitely, the inside of it's definitely leaking. And what we'll do shortly, we'll cut this up, we'll have a look inside, and we'll see what's going on inside. But you can see the colour of this water, and this is the potable water. Yeah, it's very, very hot. Very, very hot in this loft. And this water is the water that connects to the cold mains, or the hot coming out your hot tap. So as you can see there, it's very, very mucky. And this is why it's important to have like your unvented cylinders serviced correctly and your boilers serviced correctly, because these things can be checked every year, and if you maintain them, then you don't have the problems like this. But unfortunately, things don't always get serviced or maintained correctly. So I've got the expansion vessel back home now, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take bolts out, we'll strip this down, we'll have a look inside, we'll have a look at that diaphragm, or that bag. Yeah, let's do that now. So this is the part where the mains water is, this side of it. That's how it connects. See through there. And then inside there, we've got a bag, and in there, that should be clean water, really. What I'll do, I'll just take this bag out of here. I'll have a look at it. Just got the bag out of it. I'm going to wash this out because it's a bit mucky and I don't want to get this all over my hands, but you see there, that's inside there. I see it there, but it's actually, there's water inside there. Now that should be the air side of it. Obviously, as I've said, that's got a big hole in it, it's got a big split in it. But I'll wash that off and we'll have a proper look at it. This part of it now, this is the actual air side of it. So there shouldn't be any water in this bit. And this expansion vessel, that water should not come in contact with the expansion vessel. It should be inside the bag. As you can see there, it's all split. So that's just a little bit of a look inside an expansion vessel that you would use with a hot water cylinder for potable water. That's, as I've said in the video, in that part of the video, that's in a bag. So the water goes inside the bag on that one. In a central heating system, then you have a diaphragm in the middle. One side's central heating water and then one side is air. So that's the two different types of expansion vessels. People sometimes get confused over that. I've got a little bit more from me later on in the video, but I'm going to send you over to Lee now. So Lee does some absolutely amazing commercial videos. Now, I don't know anything at all about commercial. I say I don't know anything at all. I know little bits. I am actually qualified to do commercial, but I never continued it because I like to know what I'm doing when I'm doing stuff. So these videos from Lee I find absolutely fascinating, but if you can, put some comments below, and Lee has said that he'll try and answer as many of them questions as possible. And if you do have any suggestions that you would like Lee to do, then again, put some comments below in the video, and Lee said that he'll try and help where he can, share knowledge where we can. So yeah, without further ado, let's go over to Lee.
Hey, Alan. So, yeah, there's this one that I'm sending you now, on this eco night. They had a modulating burner, so it's not just high fire and low fire. It works anywhere between 20 and 100%. So, I think it's important to check mid-ranges, and check flame pictures and whatnot. I also think it's important to check stuff before you strip it as well. So this water here, I did a flue gas on it before we even started stripping it, and I thought, yeah, alright, combustion's a bit naff. Give it a good clean out, give it a full strip down, and it'll be alright. Unfortunately it won't. So that's why I think it's important to do checks before as well as after, and also do mid-range checks. So basically flue gas from low to high fire and high to low, so you know exactly what it's burning at when it's modulating. Right, so leave your comments for Alan. I always read through them. Any questions you want to ask, I try to answer them as best as possible. Yeah, cool. Somebody did mention about isolation again. Like I said, there's only me in the room. If I can get it done there and then, I can't see point in putting locks on and labels. If I can get it done there and then, obviously after leave job, then I do put locks on. So there we go, and everything's labelled. Hey Alan, doing a full strip down service on this. I've already cleaned heat exchanger out, so just gonna give the burner a good clean now. Happy days. Right, so we'll give the burner a wash. Removed any debris in there. Now, I actually did flue gas analyzer test on this before we even started, and it did trip my flue gas analyzer. But locking bar say, oh, it might be burner that's blocked. Anyway, I think it's more to do with this. Yeah, because at low fire, it's okay. High fire, it's okay. But when it modulates, yeah, the CO is just through the roof. It just tripped my flue gas analyzer straight away. In fact, I'm still trying to clear it now. It's nearly there. Yeah, it's nearly gone down now. But that went up to over 20,000 parts per million. So, and then just went bing. So yeah, I think it's definitely the air to gas ratio in this flue gas analyzer is kaput. So it's not modulating the right ratio of air and gas when it's modulating. So the way to prove it is cleaned hot burner out, done everything we can, heat exchanger, the whole shebang. And yeah, we'll stick it back together. Happy days. It'll be, if it is the gas valve, it'll be a warranty job anyway, because it's less than 2 years old this. Right, cool, catch you in a bit. Right, so it's all back together now. Yeah. I've left my flue gas analyzer out for a minute. I just want to show you issue, and this is why we're scratching his heads at the minute. Don't worry about that at the minute. That's just for training and quality purposes. It's just that I've had to clear it because when I had it firing earlier on, CO went through the roof. So I'm just clearing its sensor. So it's not a million miles away, but like I say, forget about CO at the minute. Right, so we've got it in service mode. And you can see flame picture. Absolutely bob on that. Yeah, it's not a million miles out. So now, just watch it as it goes to high fire. Yeah, you see it flaring there. Shouldn't do that. It starts going a bit weird there, around about 50%. See that blue tinging? Yeah. Flaring again. It's all of it shot. So we're up at 70% now. Yeah. 80. 90. It's getting pretty stable there. Looking much better. Right, 100. Right, that's absolutely bob on. Right, so we'll do it coming down. Watch for it. You'll see it kind of go greeny. See it there? Yeah? There we go. Back to 0. Now we'll do some jiggery pokery with flue gas analyzer and I'll show you combustion. Be right back. So I've got it stuck in flue. Got it at low fire. Like I said, just ignore that. All we're interested in at the minute is O2 and CO2 and then as ratio. Now for me, that's absolutely bob on. Yeah. Cool. So, what we'll do now is, we'll take that out, get it into high fire, and then we'll do another one. So that's clearing itself out now. Situations like this with CO2, that's why I always carry one of these. Yeah, personal carbon monoxide monitor. So with all these flues everywhere, when you're walking into an environment like this, you don't know if flues are in, if integrity of flues are being compromised, and it's just pumping all stuff into the plant room. So right, we're at 100% now. So I'll just pause it there, and we'll put flue gas analyzer back in. Yeah. Right. So we're back in. It's going up. 100%. And bear in mind, these water heaters, they're oscillating. So they oscillate anywhere between 20 and 100% depending on demand. And like I said, we're only getting us problems mid-range. So yeah, it's an air to gas ratio on gas valve. So I think it's a problem with gas valve. It's not getting its right mix when it oscillates. So yeah, CO, it's a little low. I'm not overly concerned about that at the minute. A bit high on O2, but ratio's still in. It's gone up a little bit on CO. Right, again I'll pause it there for a minute, and then Alan can edit all this later. Sorry Alan! Right, so to set it mid-range, just going to change fan setup. Yeah, so high rate 6,000, low rates 1,400. So we'll go for a mid-range. Take it down to 3,000. So that's middle for diddle. So that should take it to around about 49–50%. Happy days. Right, have a look at flame picture. It looks to be flaring a bit there. Now I'm going to put this in and watch this. You lads will probably go, ah! Look at that, shooting straight off. Boom. So, well, we'll have to wait and see under warranty if they're going to come out and fix it, or if I'm going to fix it and back charge them. So, yeah, cool. Watch this space. The best thing I can do with this now is turning off there. Turning off there. Turning off there. And where are you? Aha. Pull the fuse. Here's one I prepared earlier. And I'll stick that on, and that'll be a warning notice. Yeah, for a water heater that's not even 2 years old. Wow. Cool. Right then, Alan. I'll see you. Happy days.
Thank you very much for that, Lee. And please don't attempt any of these things that you see in my videos at home or anywhere. These are undertaken by professionals with the correct test equipment, so it's not DIY. As I've always said in all my videos, this is to try and show some of the new people into the industry different parts of the industry. Yeah, I've just been driving past this job here. I just wanted to show you this. So this is on a brand new build, and I know from looking at that, you can see that it's an Idealogic, or there's a good chance it's an Idealogic flue, and we can see on there that it's not installed correctly. So please put a comment below, let me know what you think is wrong with that flue. And that's it for this video. And just to finish off, just for fun, what do you call this in your area? Thanks for watching.